thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden. First up, we want to get right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for an update on this wet weather. Rach?
Yeah, we have brighter and drier days ahead, which is good news. We deserve it after the last couple of days, and a sign of what's ahead. We saw a little bit of sun to finish the day in parts of the state. This double rainbow, very vivid. I'll step out so you can drink it in all its beauty from Caitlin Jessmonth in Niantic. Absolutely stunning. You can see the rain continues to push out of here. We'll see clearing skies as we head through the overnight and falling levels of humidity. And you know what that means? It's refreshing by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. So temperatures are in the 60s right now, but before you go to bed, pop the windows open. It's been over a week now since we've seen low levels of humidity. Obviously, last week we were dealing with that record heat and humidity, but tonight lows will settle back into the 50s. So it is not only sunny, but also just a really lovely start to the day tomorrow. And we'll see temperatures rebound into the 80s as we head through the afternoon, including 84 for Southington and Wallingford, right around 80 in Brantford, and cooler upper 70s for Stonington and Groton. We'll get a look at when the humidity returns and the next chance for storms coming up, Brent.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, the weekend storms knocked out power to thousands of Eversource customers. The lights are back on for most tonight, but there are still a couple of thousand homes and businesses in the dark. Fox 61's Tim Latow went to Harwinton, where people are still cleaning up storm debris.
The winds had enough force to rip hundreds of trees and their root bases right out of the ground. This one was more than 8 feet wide. Eversource says it still has more than 200 crews here in Harwinton.
Been through a few hurricanes, some heavy storms, and winter storms, ice storms. Nothing like this. I've never seen anything like this.
John Fredsall has lived in Harwinton for 74 years, his whole life. Never has the volunteer firefighter seen the amount of lumber littering the roads. It's all thanks to some 80-mile-per-hour winds that cut celebrations short Independence Day evening. Many people, like Henry Padnode, have been without power since then.
I just came home from work to fill the generator, fill it in the morning, come back in the afternoon, fill it again, and hopefully the gas stations don't run out of gas.
Local and state leaders have been vocal about what they feel is a slow response time from Eversource.
The devastation here in Harwinton is really heavy. Some real frustration with Eversource in terms of coordination, getting the folks here.
Eversource says it was staffed for the predicted severe weather, but that the storms turned out to be even more extreme than forecasted. Harwinton First Selectman Michael Chris says the slow removal of downed trees and power lines endangered lives.
3 o'clock in the morning, myself and my public works director and my team were out here lifting wires just so that fire trucks could get through, because we had a person going into cardiac arrest. And they're trying to get to the house, but they can't get there because the wires were never removed.
Eversource crews were still on scene late Tuesday evening. Senator Richard Blumenthal wants people to do all they can to have a well-documented insurance claim. He says disasters like this can open the door for companies to take advantage of people, so be prepared.
Photograph it, document it in any way possible, because the insurance companies need to honor their obligation, and we're going to be after them. We'll hammer them if they fail to come through with what they owe these homeowners and businesses.
It's a trying time for the town, maybe now more than ever before. But Fredsall is appreciative of everyone's efforts, from town leaders to neighbors to Eversource.
It's Saturday night, here it is Tuesday night. For the damage we've had, to possibly have power tonight, I think it's pretty incredible, honestly.
So clearly, so much left that has to be cleaned up. Eversource says it has its community relations team here in town working with local leaders. In Harwinton, Tim Latow, Fox 61.
The cleanup continues in Torrington as well tonight, and if you live there, the city is offering help. Torrington is planning 2 special curbside collections. Storm-related branches, brush, leaves, and other yard debris will be picked up next week from Monday through Friday. The city's asking that you get it all down to the curb by Sunday, and then storm-damaged bulk items like lawn furniture and fencing will be collected from the 20th through the 24th, but you'll need to get a permit for that first. And if you are cleaning up storm damage, beware of cleanup scams. Today, Attorney General William Tong warned that scammers may go door to door, acting like they work for utility companies. He also said if contractors are offering unusually low prices for any storm cleanup work, that's a red flag. All home improvement contractors must put an offer in writing, and before you get any work done, Make sure your contractors are licensed and insured. Disturbing new details tonight in the death of a 12-year-old Enfield girl found dead in her home. Search warrants are now revealing what was found in her system the day she died. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot was in Enfield, where neighbors are stunned.
Neighbors tell me the death of Eve Rogers really shook the community. The owner behind this fence says she created it to honor her.
It's been nearly 5 months since the 12-year-old died, and we are still learning new details from the case. Investigators are requesting search warrants for the following: Amazon, CVS, Snapchat, and Meta. The report says Eve and her stepdad communicated on apps like Facebook and Snapchat, but police aren't able to find messages, pictures, or videos. Additionally, messages on Snapchat delete after a day, which is why that app is a part of the investigation. The report also found a number of electronically stored records and information, payment info, and transaction history associated with a CVS Caremark and Amazon account from January to March. Police want to access all of these records because they believe there is evidence of the offenses of murder, sexual assault, and risk of injury. The warrant goes into detail about sleep aid pills, which are identified as blue gel capsules. According to the warrant, the pills were located next to Federline and Rogers' mother's bed. The bottle's active ingredient in the pills is diphenhydramine. It was reported that the 12-year-old was given this medication to help her sleep. In regard to Rogers' toxicology report, she had a lethal amount of diphenhydramine in her blood. She also had Prozac, which she was not prescribed. The report says Eve had 23,000 nanograms per milliliter of diphenhydramine in her blood, which is 5 times the lethal amount for a child. At this point, investigators cannot say how a large amount got into her system or her exact cause of death.
I do want to reiterate that Eve's stepfather, Anthony Federline, has not been charged with murder, but he is facing sexual assault charges. In Enfield, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
Hartford police are investigating after dozens of shots were fired during a large gathering on Edgewood Street early on the 4th of July. Around midnight, officers responded after multiple 911 callers reported roughly 50 gunshots. Police say they found a large crowd in the backyard of a home on Edgewood Street, along with numerous spent shell casings. 7 firearms were recovered, including 2 that were illegally possessed by permit holders. Investigators say no gunshot victims have been reported. There's no evidence anyone was hit. The investigation is ongoing. And new tonight, the Waterbury nightclub where 2 people were shot and killed over the weekend has been shut down. State officials say the owner of Club LA 42 chose to give up his liquor license after the shooting. Fox 61's Valerie Moravi will have more on the investigation and the concerns of people in the community coming up at 10:30. All right, if you're headed toward I-84 from Prospect Avenue in West Hartford, plan for a detour. Town officials say a collapsed stormwater pipe created a big hole beneath the road, forcing crews to close the area while repairs are made. Fox 61's Kayla Cade talked to neighbors and businesses feeling the impact.
Drivers trying to take a right from Prospect Avenue onto I-84 East are having to find another route. One neighbor tells me the detour is adding time to their commute.
It's just a busy area, and fortunately, we just have to deal with it, I guess.
A collapsed stormwater pipe caused a big mess for the town to fix on Prospect Avenue. Crews blocked off one side of the road with cones and worked to fill the large cavity in the street. But it left drivers like Anthony Williams, who lives in the area, to detour.
Basically, with all the traffic only going this way, I have to get out and go to the right to get onto the highway to go to work. So it is kind of an inconvenience, but I mean, I guess it's just something that they got to do, and it's just an ongoing process. So I guess we just got to deal with it.
He says it makes his commute to work longer.
And it's frustrating at times, especially with, obviously how much, traffic that is in this area. We're right on the line, so, it's an inconvenience a little bit.
Public Works Director John Phillips say this is not related to the previous storm, and he expects the lane to be back open for drivers on Wednesday.
If it's got to be fixed, it's got to be fixed. I'm just glad that they're working on it now, I guess.
Town officials say crews are continuing repairs, and final pavement restoration will be scheduled in the coming days to fully reopen the road. In West Hartford, Kayla Cade, Fox 61.
A Massachusetts man faces charges after a stabbing in Wallingford. It happened Saturday around 7:30 p.m. at a home on Stony Brook Road. According to Wallingford police, 28-year-old Michael Spriggs of Springfield and the victim went to a party at the home. Police say when the victim got there, witnesses saw Spriggs immediately stab him in the face and neck with a knife. The victim was taken to a hospital where he was treated and released. Spriggs was arrested and charged with assault and breach of peace. He is set to appear in court later this month. Well, a Winchester man accused of murdering his wife appeared in court for the first time today. Leon Stetson has been in the hospital since Carrie Stetson's death last month. And police say he stabbed her to death and then tried to kill himself. Carrie and her family-owned Railway Cafe in Winstead, which is temporarily closed. Stetson's case has been continued to August 11th. Well, tonight, a Vernon man faces 21 criminal charges because police say he attacked a woman and a 2-year-old and then attacked another woman who tried to intervene. 38-year-old Jerry Jollifels has been charged with assault, threatening, and risk of injury to a minor, among other charges, and he's being held on bond. Police say it happened outside the Springville Mills Saturday evening, and they're calling it a case of domestic violence. Police say the woman and the child were all taken to hospitals.